member of Mangu Kaha OG and ended up into foster care, into boys' home, social welfare, became a state ward. 2 major crews at that time with Mangu Black Power, Mangu Kaha. We fought and killed each other for the jails. I had no qualifications other than the fact I'd done more than 40 years in jail. My name is Huna Te Pou. I just turned 60. I was born in Whakatane, born and bred there. My whakapawa takes me to Tuoi and Ngātiawa. 9th of December, I turned 60. The same day my son was convicted of murder, found guilty. I shared a cultural report with his probation officer, hoping that would help him. So I laid it all out there, the life we led, which affected my son, the drugs, the gang life. Yeah. But there was no excuse for what he did.
Yeah, so can you sort of share what it was like, paint a picture of like Waimana and what it was like growing up there?
Waimana, it's like the place time forgot. Their first language is reo. They live a real comfortable, easy lifestyle. No pressures like money and paying rent and that. When they're hungry, they just go shoot animals and trap and grow their own crop. Majority of them. That's what I see at Waimana is. I like going there. I went there before I came up, just to get some of my tūhoi whakapapa, help me on my journey. So that's Waimana in a nutshell. A real hard place if you haven't been there. People are beautiful, whānau are beautiful. Got as far as 3 months into my 3rd form before I was expelled. Prior to that, I ended up into foster care, into boys' home, social welfare, became a state ward. So as a state ward, it's a requirement to get educated, reading, writing, arithmetic. So we learnt that.
Well, how were the boys' homes?
They were hard. Yeah, quite cool actually. Run by ex-military, Navy, Army, Air Force, retired guys. It was all males. So it was like a regimental regime. You see a nice 3 bags full suit. Yeah, no good thoughts of that place.
What sort of things were you exposed to in those places?
Physical abuse, mental abuse, and sexual abuse. So you had to navigate your way through that. It was hard. That was the boys' homes. Got some good hidings there. Ended up in hospital a few times. Broken legs, broken arms.
At what age?
Oh, I was 12, 13, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. Good thing about being in the system, everything's recorded. So they have to please explain. So all the x-rays and documentation are still there to this day. So after the boys' homes, they pretty much groomed you for the borstals. There was no family contact. Like I said, I was taken to court one day with my mum, and she went home without me, and I hopped into a car, and they took me to the Hamilton boys' home. I didn't see my family for a few years. Yeah. I didn't know about rules and regulations. You got to learn as you go. And the only way you can learn is through punishment. and then you learn. So it's about fighting for your survival, fighting for your pudding. The Sunday race, it was about that. So that was the boys' homes.
Well, were like gangs and things something that you grew up around back then? Were they around back then? Or?
The gangs were already at home in Whakatane, Kawaru. Got family members and loved ones on both sides, Mangu and Mangu Kaha. So everything's cool when we're at home. That's when we're on the streets. That's when the bitching and the fighting starts. Otherwise, we still love one another. I'm a member of Mangu Kaha OG. Still love our Black Power and New Zealand brothers. We share a centrepiece, which is the race fist. And we took that as a universal struggle of fighting the system, fighting the man. So it was there way before I came along. We're just adding to it. I think I was only out maybe 2 months before I ended up in Borstal. So I got busted with a tinny, and it wasn't even mine. We got pulled up by the police. My brother throws it to me, he says, "Here, hold that." So like a dumb bug, I'm holding it. And the police goes, oh, what's that? Oh, it's this. So you're under arrest. And I got charged 2 years, 0 to 2. And I hadn't even smoked a joint in my life. And he just started drinking, experimenting with drinking. So that was 0 to 2 Borstals. I think I did most of that. I got at the age of 18. I think within a couple of weeks, I was back in the game. Got another 0 to 2, and I got out when I was 20. Just in time for my 21st birthday. I didn't get patched up till 1980, 82. I was totally fit. I didn't smoke or drink. And it was all about power and control, total domination. If you wanted to take it, that was my whole life force. Believe it or not, I actually bloody did well. I started playing the league at the age of 20 and bloody cracked it. Played for the Bay of Plenty Rugby League, 2nd Division. Our last end of year game, we played up in Taipukare in Auckland. Who's that guy? Oh, God. He ended up being a Kiwi coach and then coaching Sydney, what's his name? Graham. He was Northland coach. Tony Irwin and we were playing for Northland at that time. And we beat them. We were 2nd Division. Peter Ford was our captain. Ranga. There was a lot of brothers in there at that time. So we did really well. Got my first pay, $50 a game. I said, wow. But I didn't follow through on it, mate. No good regrets. We ended up in GBH. For 2.5 years. Did most of that. And just kept on, keeping on. That was my go-to, that's what I knew. I didn't use alcohol and drugs much. The only time was when we celebrated. So I wanted to be the best soldier I could be, so I always followed orders. The order of the day was, don't get out of it, don't get drunk, don't do the mai, come back, and you get the treats. I said, sweet. So that was the kaupapa. Get the job done, come home. I treated Whakatane as my home. I never did any major crimes there. That was my go home and have a rest. Yeah. Well, my crime was the rest of the Aotearoa, North and South Islands. Yeah.
So how were the prison systems, man? Like when you first started going to prison, what was that experience like for you?
Okay. ended up in Central and Waikeria on the blue stripes. So that's for GBH, grievous bodily. White stripes are the murderers. Saw and experienced my first suicide. It happened to be one of our whānau, Paula Samuels. And so you could hear it. So slow asphyxiation. It's not like in the movies where you jump off and you hang yourself and break your neck. It's slow. That you put your sheet tight around your headlight, your light in your cell, and then slowly hang yourself. So the first suicide. So I guess your natural instinct is to try and save yourself, even though you're trying to kill yourself. I can't figure it out. While he was hanging, he was trying to kick the heels on the back of the door. These two screws come in. What the f***'s going on? Screamed out, bottom landing, Samuel cell, and they got on the doors, they got like a slot, eye slot, and they open it. Oh, he's not dead yet, and he walked away. That was my first introduction to yous. Nothing but criminals, you get what you deserve. So that was their mindset. Okay, I didn't give up. And I guess we had to, that was our first coming together, I think, of other criminal elements and crews. They had some major fights in there. People killed, stabbed. Been through one riot against the system. It was good at the time. They came in and break our bones. They hammered us. In the 80s and 90s, I guess we reached the pinnacle of taking over the jails. And the two major crews at that time were Mangu Black Power, Mangu Kaha. We fought and killed each other for the jails. Thank God days are over. So that's pretty much how it is now. The major crews run the major jails. I first saw the influx of 501s, me personally, was 2016. I said, this is going to be interesting. And sure enough, here we are today. And they're coming in by the plane load. I guess some of those crews were onto it, and they future forecasted, and they planned for their exodus back home. But Aroha, I feel sorry for some of our brothers there too, because they might have been born in New Zealand, Aotearoa, but that's all their ahu and their hearts, their families, their whole lives are back overseas. And, they're lost, pretty much.
Well, I mean, so to go back again, brother, so you've ended up doing that GBH, you've done your time there. So, I mean, from there, bro, were you still in Whakatane at that point, or were you just all over New Zealand? And
yeah, I moved to Auckland for a while. Got some more skills, and eventually went to Wellington. Got involved with the killing down there in 85, 86. Ended up going to that same guy's tangi, unveiling, sorry. Was acquitted. Went to the bro's tangi, all in-house stuff. Had a good relationship with the woman of my dreams. Gave me a family. But shit, I didn't realise how damaged I was, brother. So when you lose something, that you regret it. Cost me 20 years of my life. Still got regrets. Got a lot of love and respect for my ex-partner. She's still the mother of my children, grandmother of my muckles. Yeah, but we move on. So I ended up doing kidnapping, torture at the High Court in Hamilton. The bloody prosecution asked for 40 years. You might have just taken me out the back and hang me. Unbeknown to me, I was given a preventative detention. I didn't know what that was. That wasn't done until later. One of our libraries said, "Hey, bro, I'm going to get out before you." I said, "Hey, no, I'm getting out before you. You're never getting out of jail, you dumb bastard." Oh, read your paperwork. Read my paperwork, rung up my lawyer, mother. You better start fighting this. That was in 2003. I went in 2003. Went up to, how do you call it, appeals court. They threw it out. And we were one of the first cases that went up to the Supreme Court at that time. From 2003, it was heard in 2009. Took bloody hell, about 6 years. And they reduced the sentence to 20. And we appealed it again on the grounds that we'd already done 80 months on remand. And we won that appeal, so we ended up giving 18.5 years, but the bastards, they put an accumulative on it. So accumulative means you got to do each bloody, every day of it. So here we are. Now I learned my lessons.
So you ended up getting 18 years.
18.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what was your mentality going back in on that one?
Right. Mentality, if I'm going to live here, I might as well own it. I'm not going to pay rent to nobody. I'd rather die standing than be a slave on my knees. I got stabbed a few times. I was on death's door a few times. For the grace of God, I survived. My first stabbing, I lost my spleen. Ended up taking me to Wellington Hospital. Took my spleen out. Second stabbing, I got stabbed just above, just below the breastplate. Cut my gallbladder. It makes the gall to break down the enzymes in your stomach. So they took that out. So my stomach, I can't make gall to break down the enzymes. I can't process fat and stuff like that. Second stabbing, third stabbing, hit my liver and a bit of my kidney. I think I lost about maybe 1/5, but they reckon it goes again, thank God. My second operation, they put this, they experimented on me. They put this gauze in my stomach to hold it all in. Better than stitches, they reckon. Then that started breaking down into my system. And I went from about 130 kgs to about 90. And I went back to hospital. So something's wrong with me. And they took it out, this mesh. So that was that time, 2016, I ended up in hospital again. All this plastic shit that got absorbed into my system. Ended up in clogging up my, how do you call it? It formed all these rocks and crystalline stuff in my system, and it started blocking me up. I couldn't eat. Actually fainted. It wasn't for my cellmates. I could hit the button. Managed to get me to Whangarei Hospital. Did this microscopic surgery on me. CAT scans, all that stuff. So the stuff, I've absorbed it. It's still there today. I guess, through all the fights and whatnot, and loss of body parts, it's starting to affect me now. When I was released, I thought, more hope. Probation and the police didn't want me there. The judge, when he finally gave me release, he reckons there's only one condition, Mrs. Te Pou, you can never go back home. I said, oh, whoa, back it up. I've committed no crimes, no convictions there. Give me one good reason. Probation and police said, no, that's not a good reason. I got too long a waiwai. Tangata whenua. I'm born in Bentley. When I die, I'm going to be buried at that marae, or that marae. I've got a choice. Yeah. Now, these people you're professing to say, where are they going to, when they die, where are they going to get buried? So I put that cordial down and I refused. I said, no, I don't want to go then. If I can't go home, I'll just stay in jail. End of the story, bro. They released me back into the same community that I'd done my kidnappings in. I couldn't understand it. And now I know why. It's because of the influence we have. The crazy part about it, man, so much wanted to change. But I guess the powers that be and those that thought they were empowered didn't want me back, which was dumb. Because half of them I didn't even know. They were babies when I went to jail. So we're in a good space now. Got home. I sat there for a whole year just watching it all go down. Never drank alcohol, smoked crack or marijuana. And I had enough. Things are going to change. Long story short, I breached my conditions. I went back. But things have changed for the better now. My son ended up in the Grace Foundation, and I'd come to visit him. It was on our 50th anniversary of Black Power Mangu Kaha. It's been organised. I didn't even bother going to that. I went to my son's. I sat there and I went, wow, this place is amazing, son. It's a beautiful place. It's actually here for you. It helped my son. He breached. And they came and they went to bat for him and got him out again, and his whole life changed. He's the rock of our family now. I raised him up to be a Mangu Kaha. He says, Dad, I don't want to be a Mangu Kaha anymore. I said, too much, son, thank you. And give me his colours back. So yeah, he's contributing to the community. Him and his wife are working full time. A beautiful son and daughter. And he's leading the way for our family. And I just thanked him for that too. So he's our rock at the moment. So he's helping his brother, Perry, and me. I got into more GBH again. And I reached out to the Grace if they could help. And put my hands in God. And I plead guilty, knowing full well that, like my son, we were on strike here at that time. And I'll be going to jail for the rest of my days. So what was happening was, under Labour, they were trying to repeal it. Thank God they did. It took them 6 years. But my son has to put in for a lawyer, so there's no, how do you call it? Under national, when he was charged with it, he has to appeal it. But he's not going to spend the rest of his days in jail. And I put my faith in God and the Grace Foundation. I was sentenced to 80 months there. Man, that's amazing. And I relapsed. So I had to go back to Whakatane to hear my charge. I wish I hadn't. I ended up going back once A fight ensued and I ended up being charged with intent to injure. So I'm facing that charge today. So once again, I ended up back in Spring Hill for 6 weeks. And I was released to grace just over 3 weeks ago. And here we are today. Wow.
Yeah, God is good, man.
God is good.
God is good.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
And I love going to our Sabbaths. I really do. I like giving service. I love it. It's not just giving back to the community, but you're actually helping those that really need it. And we are in a position where we can just say, hey, come on, bro, come and have a feed. Yeah. So I can see the method there. The more we serve others, the better we feel, and even the health and fitness regime. Oh man, I'm 60 years old. I'm in there. I nearly fainted my first time, but I'm getting there. But it's all part of the science, and the belief and the power of God. With the belief, you back it up with being fit, physically fit, and it releases those endorphins, and it makes you think better, make better decisions. I understand that process.
Yes, I mean, well, what is the future? What are your future plans, brother? You know, from here.
I want to keep giving back. Eventually, I'd like to be part of an organisation for rehabilitation of drugs, alcohol, and mental health. I think that's where I should be. That's where I'm feeling it. And that was another thing I noticed too. When under National, they closed down all the mental and health centres, and so they should have. There's a lot of abuse and deaths in custody and psychological torture, and unbelievable what's happening. But they've still got a duty of care. The police, you can't keep locking them up in prisons. You can't. It's inhumane. So that's another area we need to look at. And I'm one of those guys. I guess I went a bit twisted in jail. So I'm learning to manage it. I worked with this psychiatrist, Angela Nouns, a Welsh lady, about 4 years before they let me out, before I wasn't a threat to society. Yeah. And one of my conditions, I'm supposed to see a probation-approved psychologist or psychiatrist every couple of years. But for them, that's just ticking the boxes that their duty of care is covered. But I need more than that. And I keep telling all these organisations I'm broken, mate. And they just go, oh my God. And they're looking, oh, they're ringing the police up. I'm just voicing what I'm telling them. The crazy part about it, bro, they got all that information in front of them. They just don't know how to deal with them. If they're just open and honest and showed a bit of aroha, showed a bit of forgiveness. You know, I've done my time. I've paid for my crimes. So stop punishing us. Okay. I'm 60 years old and I've got so much information and knowledge and I want to give so much back. It's unbelievable. I guess they don't know how to deal with us. People like us, it's just not me. I've got brothers in there done 35 years, 25 years. Just imagine what they're going to be treated.
So look, man, to sort of wrap this up, I mean, do you have any messages, brother, that you'd like to put out there? You know, there's possibly a lot of people are going to watch this. So do you have any messages to maybe any brothers that you have in prison, you know, people that'll watch this, that know you and things? Do you have any messages that you want to put out there?
Yes, I have. Yeah. So, sisters and brothers out there, look for the rehabilitation, the help, drugs and the alcohol, the violence. There's people out there that truly care, organisations that truly care about us. I'm at one of them now. The Grace Foundation is one of many. So reach out, my brothers. It's cool to be in rehab, and our sisters. It's no good in the darkness. Come out of there and come into the light. You'll see things a lot more clearly.
Oh, man.
Good day.
Kia ora, my
Thanks for
brother.
the opportunity.